All right, guys, we are starting our new unit, ratios and proportions. So we're going to start off with ratios. Make sure you have your notes, and let's go ahead and get started. So a ratio is simply a comparison of two quantities. Comparison of two quantities. Okay, so if you look at my lovely picture here, I have pencils and I have paper clips. Okay, so I'm comparing, I'm looking at those two things. So it can be written, a ratio can be written three different ways. So you should be able to recognize them all three ways. So if you look at my pencils, I have two pencils and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paper clips. So you notice that looks like a fraction. A fraction is a ratio, okay? It's looking at two separate things there, okay? Another way is to use a colon, and another way is to use the word to. So those are the three different ways I can write a ratio. Now, you'll see obviously that I could also simplify my ratio. So instead of 2, 6, I could also say that was 1 to 3, 1 to 3, or 1, 2, 3. Okay, so basically what that means is for every one pencil, there are 3 paper clips. For every one pencil, there are 3 paper clips. All right. All right, let's do a little vocabulary just really quick. We'll come back to the ratios in just a second. A couple things, numeric and categorical data, looking at two separate things. So data, if I'm like asking a survey or some type of data where I want to ask people questions, if I'm asking for numeric data, numeric, that word is numbers. So that means you're asking something that's going to have a number in the answer. So for example, how many people are wearing jeans? Someone might say 5. How many people play sports? 23. Okay, so that's numeric data is something where someone is going to answer in a number. Categorical data, the word category is in there. So that means someone is going to answer your question as a category or a word. All right, so what's your favorite color? Red, that's a word. What color are most kids wearing? Blue. Okay, do you like hot dogs or hamburgers? So someone would have to say a word. All right. On your notes, make sure you cross that one part off and write categorical. So why don't you pause the video real quick and write an example of a numeric data question and one that's categorical. So pause the video and come back. All right, I'll check those questions tomorrow. So let's come back to ratios now. All right, so what we're going to look on today is ratios is looking at a part to part or a part to whole. Those are two types of ratios. Unit rate, we're going to come back to that later in the week. But right now, part to part or part to whole. So if you look at my lovely picture here, I'm comparing things. I'm looking at triangles, X's, and arrows. So if you look, I want you to tell me what the ratio of triangles to X's are. So triangles, I have 1, 2, 3 triangles. 2 X's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 6 X's. Okay, so of course that's the one way of writing it. I'm going to go ahead and simplify that as that's a 1 to 2 ratio. Okay, so I could also say 1 to 2 or 1 to 2. So basically what that means, for every one triangle, there are 2 X's. For one triangle, there are 2 X's. One triangle, 2 X's. Okay? So that's part to part. I'm looking at two separate things, part to part. Part to whole is exactly what it says. I'm looking at part of the whole thing. So let me erase here. Part of the whole thing. So in this case, I'm looking at arrows to total shapes. Arrows to total shapes. So let's look at my arrows. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arrows to shapes. Shapes are all of them, including the arrows. The arrows are part of the shape, so I have to count everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that is a 5 to 14. Remember, when you're looking at whole, but the part to whole, you have to count whatever that part is inside of the whole. Okay, so my 3 different ways of writing this are 5 to 14 or 5 to 14. Okay, if you need to, go ahead and pause the video and make sure you write all of this down. And look, that 5 to 14, that can't be simplified. So that's as its simplest form. Okay, pause the video if you need to and come back. All right, let's come back for a couple more examples. This first example we already did, so let's just, but I was talking to you more about simplifying it, but we were so advanced we already did it. So again, pencils to paperclip, that's a 2 to 6 ratio, but we simplified it, so we got a 1 to 3. So what that meant, the ratio of pencils to paperclips is 1 pencil. Oops, let's write this down here. 1 pencil for every 3 paper clips. All right, so why don't you do this one by yourself? It says write the ratio in simplest form in 3 different ways that compares the number of stars to the number of circles. So why don't you go ahead and do it? Write the 3 different ratios and then explain the meaning, just like up here. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and come back when you have it. All right, let's check your answers here. So it was a 2 to 3 ratio. Here it is simplified. And what that means is for every 2 stars, there are 3 circles. And then I kind of showed it here on my picture. Okay? All right, let's move to part to whole now. Part to whole. So here is my example. Several students named their favorite flavor of gum. Write the ratio in 3 different ways that compares the number who chose fruit gum to the total students. Okay? Then explain its ratio. All right, so let's look at my little graph here. So I'm looking at gum. It says it's gum. And I'm specifically looking at fruit gum. So if you look here, I've got 3 fruits. 3 people like fruit gum, and then the total. So the total, I need to add up all of those. So that's 17 plus 3, 21. So total of 21. All right. So the ratio would be a 3 to 21, but I need to simplify that. So that's a 1 to 7, 1 to 7, 1 to 7. Okay. So what that means is for every one, let's see how the wording is. So something students preferred fruit flavored gum. So 1 out of 7 students preferred fruit flavored gum. Okay? All right, you try number 2 here. Monday's yogurt sales are recorded in the table. Write the ratio that compares the sales of strawberry yogurt to the total. Strawberry to the total, and then say what it means. Pause the video and come back. All right, check your answer. So it was an 8 to 24 ratio. 8 out of the 24 liked strawberry yogurt. So I simplified that and it became 1 to 3. So 1 out of every 3 yogurts sold were strawberry. Okay? All right, you've got, tomorrow you're going to have a worksheet on ratios. So I'm just going to explain this really quick. So you've got some pictures here of all the different quantities here, okay, different things. So we're comparing 2 different things. And over here, some of your questions. So it says, using the pictures above, write out the ratio in 3 ways. And I want it simplified. So ice cream cones to cherries. So you sit there and you count your ice cream cones, and then you count your cherries, okay? Look at this one really quick. This is cherries and cupcakes. That's one category together to the jelly beans and donuts. See how it says and in here? So that means you need to count the cherries and the cupcakes together and compare that to the jelly beans and donuts together. Okay? All right, the back side of that page, you're basically going to be writing out the ratio again, but then also I want you to tell me if it's a whole to part to part, or part to whole. These are very similar. This one and this one, we're both looking at part to whole, but in this case, they're giving you the whole first, then the part. Over here, they're giving you the part first, then the whole thing. Okay? So you have to determine if I'm looking at 2 totally different things or if I'm looking at a part of the whole. Okay? And then you're going to write the ratio 3 ways here, simplified. Okay? All right, have a great night, guys. If you have any questions about ratios, please let me know.